YouTubers, Dre Crawford here, Recovery One Drones. I know it's hot everywhere you are in this country. If you're over in Canada, I know it's hot up there too. And if you're over in Europe, I've heard reports it's hot there, and it's always hot in Australia, even though it's wintertime there and down under. Okay, but today we're gonna have a little fun. I got up this morning. I've been working with the Litchi app quite a bit lately, and just trying to see if it can enhance my business aspect of being a Part 107 pilot. But even if you are just a hobbyist, how Litchi can give you some very cinematic outcome of your shots. And that's what we're all trying to achieve. Most of us are trying to achieve is a good cinematic view of what we're doing out there. Some of us do it just to throw a bird up in the air, fly around and bring it back. But most of us are trying to capture that cinematic look and feel. And the more I've been working with Litchi, sometimes it's just by accident. I get a good shot and don't realize I even did it. But now I'm learning more as I'm learning to set the waypoints and how to set the camera position and so forth, and how I can achieve that. Now, what I'm going to go over today, two things I'm going to go over today is, one, I'm going to go over the Litchi app and some of the waypoints. So this video is going to be kind of long, so take your time, get something to drink, sit down, relax. I'll put some nice little music in the background while I'm talking, and just enjoy the information for what it is and glean what you need from it. The rest you can throw out the window. But we're going to kind of get into the weeds here. Thank you. Okay, once again, we're going to start off with the Litchi app. What I've been doing here, what you see on the computer screen, is a waypoint mission that I put together of my surrounding area. I'm going to bring it up a little bit, pan it over so you can get some of the details of it. The shot starts here at my home in this area, travels across to a dog food processing plant right here. We're going to do a point of interest in that area. Alright, as we continue on, you see the orbit right here, and I want to point out something real quick. You see the, I don't know if you can see the blue lines. I'm going to blow it up a little larger. You see the blue lines, teal blue lines inside the yellow lines? The teal blue lines is the actual flight path of the drone itself. Okay, the yellow lines is your waypoints, but the blue line, when you put it on curved in your settings, the blue lines, teal lines represent the actual flight of the drone. Okay, I'll continue on. I flew it down here, or I say it flew down a little further over some more commercial buildings. Did another turn near the post office, came back there, come on the railroad tracks, and then back into my community. Okay, that's where we're at. Now, one thing people to remember, we'll bring this over here, blow it up. You also want to mark in your settings, I'll bring up the settings. You see the curve part, click right there, but also you want to click down at the bottom here is use online elevation. Okay, down here where my mouse is at the bottom of the page, use online elevation. That is will help you out in the long run, because you see here, I think as much as I can blow it up, there are two sets of numbers here. The yellow set represents the AGL that you want to fly. The white numbers is the actual elevation above ground, which is comparable to your starting point. Okay, your starting point here is just set. Mine set here at 98 feet, 98 feet. So everything goes off of that initial first waypoint. I think this is where people make their mistakes in using waypoint software, as they don't compensate for the elevation that they're flying around. So it's very essential that you put this in mind, and Litchi does have it in here where you can use the elevation off of Google Maps of the actual elevation. So you actually can be negative elevation compared to your starting point if the terrain drops off significantly. Okay. Now what I'm going to show here, even with video, I'm messing up here. I'm dragging waypoints and I shouldn't be. That even here, I went to waypoint number 8. Make it out here, number 8. What I did here was a unintentional cinematic shot. I had number 8, which is still doing the point of interest, which is right here on the grain tower, right here. And you see where the angle of the camera is pointing towards that, still in that POI mode. When it left that area and it started to go down to waypoint 9, the camera remained in that position. Now, as human beings, we go in a direction where our eyes take us. We can see some things out of our peripheral vision, but we don't focus it. It always see is like there's something there until we turn our heads and focus on it. And that's what's essential here. What happened here is that the drone flew the direction, okay, along this yellow line here, going down to waypoint 9. Let me bring this up. But the camera, that waypoint 9, but the camera was facing this area, giving me a nice cinematic view, which I'm going to show you here in another clip, of a train passing by and all of these areas of the commercial buildings right here. As you see here, that the drone is flying at about approximately a 20 or 30 degree angle. This is very difficult for human beings to do because we go in a direction where our eyes are focused at. In this situation here, the camera is still heading over just off to the southeastern direction, but the drone is flying northeast, and that is something that's very hard to do. You have to practice at it. It's not something that comes naturally. It's something you have to work on and think about what you're doing, because it's very unnatural. It's almost like trying to run sideways, and we don't run as fast sideways as we do straight ahead. So this is something that mapping software Litchi can do for you. I believe probably DroneLink, which is the newest player on the street, can also provide for you, is getting cinematic footage for you. So that is something that you want to make sure you can play with a little bit by keeping the camera facing a little bit certain direction as the drone flies another direction. Now, I did this with a Phantom 3 Pro, and actually, truthfully, I did it by accident when I looked at the footage. But it goes to show you that the camera can angle a little bit without catching the legs. And we talk about the advantages of having a Inspire and above with the legs fold up, but this goes to show you that even the Phantom series can do it. Very possibly that you can do this with a Mavic series with no problem. I know you can do it with the Mavic 2 Pro because the gimbal does tilt a little sideways on that one. I'm not sure about the Mavic Pro or the Mini or the Air 2 or the original Air, but I know the Mavic 2 Pro allows the gimbal to shift a little bit to the side and capture images while you're flying in the opposite direction at a certain angle. So this is something that you can put in there, which comes off very cinematic because it gives you a feel of distance as you're going away and the camera's still looking at something else. So it's a nice touch to add in there. Turned out very nice shot. It was smooth. The gimbal was smooth, and that's another thing about using Litchi, and I imagine since I've used Drone Deploy also, that the gimbal movement is always very smooth. And that's a lot of times the difference between having something that's cinematic and then having somebody who just shot something in a nice area. You can turn something very boring, just like I do construction. Construction is what it is. It is like paint drying, very boring. But if you're able to capture some things in the right moment, the right cinematic view, you can make it interesting. Put a little music to it, and all of a sudden everybody's like oohing and on. This next area we're going to talk about real quick is a program called Air Data. Many times we talk about these things online in a lot of live chat rooms talking about flight logs. Air Data is a easy program. You can get it for a free user, or you can pay a subscription if you're a heavy flyer. That'll cover up to, I think the first level is like 1,200 flights per year. It manages everything about your drone based upon the level of purchase that you make. I myself am a gold member, which basically manages up to about, 12 drones and up to about 25, 30 batteries. Okay, it even gives you an idea on information on flight status. We see right here, right now, it says it's 100 degrees. So guess what? We're not out flying. And it gives me information on wind, everything else, even at different elevations. But the biggest thing, the biggest advantage I would say about Air Data is the flights. We're going to the flights. There's a log of flights all along here that you do. And this program works seamlessly with the DJI Go app and Go 4 app, and also works seamlessly with the Litchi app. You can have it set up where it automatically updates as soon as your flights are over or when you have Wi-Fi connection. Many times you can go into your flight log on your DJI apps and just tell it to synchronize, and everything gets added into this flight right here. As you see on the first page, it'll tell you about active flights. Mine's a little over 401 flights. Plan limit 1,200. Total photos a little over 1,000, some change, 1,136. Total videos 478. Tells my actual air time over 50 hours. Total log time 64 hours. Mileage over 400 and some odd change of mileage. Longest flight airwise 25 minutes 8 seconds. Hottest battery was just recently 159 degrees. Furthest flight from home point 9,000 some change. Longest mileage 33 mileage on any single drone I have. Highest altitude, I had to one time fly over a mountain. I had to go 594 feet. Can't do it anymore because the DJI app won't allow me to fly above 400 at all. Fastest speed I ever went 45.5 miles per hour. I think that was in my Phantom 4. Okay, that's what you get right away on your opening page. They talk about individual flights. You can go over here to your flights, the ones I did earlier today. We'll go over that one. It brings up that flight. This is an exact trace of the actual Litchi flight I did earlier this morning. You can see along in the yellow lines, complete flight. It gives you all your information as far as your power information. It talks about your batteries. Tells you the type of batteries you use, where were they at any certain time. Even talks about your sensors along the whole flight path. And right here, this is a point where I had some broken up signal down this area right here where it's red. Lost signal off and on because I was too low on my altitude and these buildings were blocking it. And then going back this way here, all the green means everything was A-OK. Go to the next one is the controls. Nothing there. Gives you the weather, current weather. The weather when I flew, it was 83 degrees. I flew this at around 7:30 at 8 o'clock this morning. And it was already 83 degrees and so forth. Going back up to the general, just giving you a quick overview of this. I don't want to go into too much detail, but this is something you need to look at if you're concerned about looking after your drones. Break it down in details. It'll get everything down from your GPS coordinates, my home address, all that kind of good stuff. Don't try to come visit me. I want to get your feelings hurt. Once again, it breaks it down to everything else. This is why this is something that could be very helpful if you ever have a crash with your drone and you have the DJI refresh program and there's an argument about who, what, when, and where. Sending data like this back to DJI can tell them, well, this is what they look at, and that's what they have their argument about. Well, it's pilot error. You were doing X, Y, and Z, and that's why the bird crashed. And you can say, well, you know what? Whoop-de-doo, go from there. And this also lets you trace your flight as you went along. It's a log right here. down through the whole flight. So you see it skip along there on everything that occurred during that flight. And you see the arrow above starting to move, and it'll tell you everything that you hit as far as information coming back, stuff that you don't even see on your screen and device. And it's all in your data log, and it all gets stored in this program right here. Okay, we're going to go back here. So that's a quick overview of Air Data. It tracks your battery health. It tells you when you have maintenance need to be done on your bird, which maintenance could be anything from just check your updates, maybe check your props. It can tell you when your motors are getting a little fatigued, everything else. So this thing right here can save you from a crash or many other things as far as just keeping your bird up longer in the air, as far as being up in your maintenance. No different if you had a maintenance log for your vehicle. You change the oil every 3,000 miles if you're one of them old school folks like I am, or you one of new breed people who just change the oil when the car tells you it needs to change the oil. So it's up to you, but this is something that is definitely can be an added tool for you as a hobbyist, and especially for you as a commercial flyer who's flying almost daily. Something that help you and you have multiple birds. So this right here is a good way to be able to track what's going on with all of your different drones. Once again, this is Recovery One Drones. As always, hang on, enjoy the ride, and please subscribe. Thank you.